The night sky over Earth was never silent anymore. Satellites hummed, shuttles passed, stations blinked. Humanity had filled the heavens with noise, metal, and dreams. But tonight, everything stopped. At first, it looked like a trick of light, a shimmer across the stars. Then came the shadow. Not clouds, not natural. Something vast moved between Earth and the sun, blotting out constellations one by one. Across every observatory, radar station, and orbital defense grid, alarms screamed the same message. Unidentified fleet detected. People came out of their homes to stare at the strange darkness in the sky. The auroras above the poles flared green and red, as if the planet itself was warning its people. Power grids flickered. Communications began to fail. In the control room of the United Earth Defense Command, hundreds of officers moved in chaos. Screens filled with static, numbers, and faces of world leaders demanding answers. Admiral Serena Voss stood in the middle of it all, silent, calm, her eyes locked on the largest monitor. The image came into focus, a shape too large to be real. It wasn't one ship. It was hundreds, maybe thousands, each one shaped like an obsidian blade lined in blue fire. They floated in perfect formation around Earth, motionless like judges waiting to deliver a sentence. "Open a channel," Voss ordered. A comms officer hesitated. "They're already broadcasting, Admiral." Every device on Earth, from the smallest phone to the largest city screen, went black. Then a voice, deep and cold, echoed through the static. "People of Earth," it said, "you have reached beyond your place. You have interfered with the affairs of the Dominion. This is your first and final command. Kneel." The sound wasn't just heard. It was felt. It rumbled in bones, in air, in oceans. The message repeated in every language, translated instantly by the alien technology. "Submit your species, your leaders, your weapons, your will. Failure to comply within one planetary rotation will result in total eradication." And then, silence. The sky stayed dark. The fleet did not move. The world waited. Within hours, chaos spread across nations. Emergency governments called for surrender. Others screamed for war. Religious leaders called it the Day of Judgment. Streets filled with fear. Children cried as skies turned red under the alien shadow. In Geneva, the Earth Council gathered underground. Dozens of presidents, premiers, and commanders shouted at each other through flickering hollow screens. "They could wipe us out in seconds," one shouted. "We must negotiate," cried another. "They won't negotiate," said a quiet voice. "Not with what they are." All heads turned toward Admiral Voss. Her face was pale, her uniform stiff, but her voice carried the weight of iron. "These aren't conquerors," she said. "They're exterminators. I've seen their kind before. They burn worlds and move on. If we kneel, we die as slaves. If we stand, we die as humans." For a long moment, no one spoke. The air was heavy, filled with fear and anger and the bitter taste of helplessness. Then the president of the council asked, "What are our options, Admiral?" Voss turned to the display, where the alien fleet formed a ring of fire around the planet. Her eyes hardened. "There's one," she said. "But it was never meant to be used." She pressed her hand to a panel, unlocking a classified channel. The screen went black, then displayed a symbol, a black triangle with a crimson core. The room fell silent. Everyone knew the name, but few believed it was real. "The Black Armada," whispered the president. Voss nodded. "Built in secret for 40 years. Autonomous combat fleet. Each ship powered by dark matter cores. Untraceable, invisible, unstoppable. It was meant to protect us from extinction-level threats." One of the ministers looked pale. "But it's not ready." It's all we have," Voss cut in, "and it's been waiting." Outside, over the dark oceans, lightning began to flash in strange patterns. A storm brewed where no storm should exist. Deep beneath the waves, something ancient stirred. A young technician looked up from his console, eyes wide. "Admiral, there's movement in the Pacific Trench. Massive energy readings." Voss straightened. Her voice was steady now, like a mountain before the wind. "They ordered us to kneel," she said. "Let's show them what humans do when we stand." She turned to the communication officer. "Activate the Black Armada," the officer hesitated. "Ma'am, are you sure?" "Once we activate, there's no turning. Do it!" The command echoed through the bunker like a drumbeat of destiny. Somewhere deep below the sea, something awakened, a mechanical heartbeat rising from the abyss. All across Earth, strange black shapes began to emerge from the water. First one, then 5, then dozens. Each ship towered like a floating mountain, sleek and silent, glowing faintly with a pulse of dark light. People watching from the coastlines screamed and cheered at once. They didn't know what the ships were, but they were human, and they had come to fight. As the first of the Black Armada rose through the clouds, lightning danced along their hulls. The night sky shimmered as hundreds of massive black ships climbed toward orbit. Above them, the alien fleet began to move, thousands of warships, their weapons igniting with white fire. On the command deck, Voss looked up at the tactical display. The two forces faced each other now, the invaders and the defenders, predator and prey. She took a deep breath. "To every ship in the Armada," she said into the intercom, "this is Admiral Voss. You know what's at stake. You know who we are. Today, humanity fights for its right to exist." Her hand hovered over the command switch. "Let's remind the universe," she said softly, "why we survived this long, and with that, she gave the order that would echo through the stars for centuries to come. Deploy the Black Armada." The Earth's night lit up like dawn. 24 hours earlier, the sky was still bright and the oceans calm. Humanity had no idea that death was already on its way. Dr. Elias Roon sat alone in the lunar relay station, orbiting high above the moon's gray horizon. He had been listening to the static for days, faint whispers of something beyond the edge of known space. His tired eyes scanned the monitors, lines of alien code flashing like lightning. Then suddenly, the noise changed, a pattern, a rhythm, a message. He ran it through 3 translation programs. None of them worked. The message wasn't made of words, it was mathematics, arranged in impossible symmetry. Something not human, something ancient. Then the final signal came through, a pulsing waveform repeating in groups of 7. Elias froze. He had seen it before, buried deep inside a restricted file years ago. It was the same pattern that appeared right before the fall of Titan Station, when an entire human colony had vanished without a trace. He knew what it meant. The Dominion was coming. Elias grabbed the communicator. "Command, this is Roon from Lunar Relay. I've intercepted a signal. No, not a signal. A countdown. They're on their way. They know where we are. They know about—" The transmission cut off as his screen went dark. The words burned into his memory. They know about the Black Armada. Far below, on Earth, Admiral Serena Voss stood in the war room of the United Earth Defense Command. The room was circular, filled with holographic screens showing orbital defenses and global satellite grids. She had not slept in 2 days. She listened as the Planetary Council argued again, scientists, generals, and politicians all shouting over one another. "They're not hostile yet," one scientist said. "We don't even know what they want. They destroyed Titan Station, that's what they want." A general barked. Voss silenced them all with a look. "They always send a warning first," she said. "It's their ritual, a show of power. They call it the kneeling." The room went quiet. Everyone knew the stories. Entire civilizations that disappeared after contact with the Dominion. Worlds silenced. Cities erased. The aliens would send a message, submit or be erased. Those who knelt were enslaved. Those who stood were annihilated. The problem was, humans had never been very good at kneeling. Later that night, Voss walked through the underground hangar of the Black Armada project. It was hidden beneath the Arctic ice, known only to a handful of people. The air smelled of metal and ozone. Engineers moved in silence, working around massive black holes that stretched for miles. Each ship was alive with energy, their surfaces pulsing faintly with light like sleeping giants. They were built using forbidden technology. Fragments of alien machinery recovered from old battles and fused with human innovation. The Armada was a paradox, a weapon of peace, created for a day that everyone hoped would never come. As Voss approached the command deck, a technician saluted nervously. "Admiral, are we really activating them?" "The cores are unstable. The AI systems aren't fully synchronized." Voss looked up at the sleeping giants. "We won't have a choice soon. The Dominion doesn't wait for readiness." Meanwhile, on the moon, Elias Rune stared out the window of the relay station. A cold blue light had appeared in the distance, small at first, but growing brighter by the second. He whispered, "No, no, no, no." Dozens of lights followed the first, hundreds, maybe thousands. They weren't meteors. They moved too precisely, too fast. He hit the emergency beacon. "To all channels, this is Dr. Rune at Lunar Relay. They're here. The Dominion fleet has entered the system. They will reach Earth in 20 hours. Prepare, whatever you have to." The message was received on Earth 12 minutes later. In the command bunker, silence fell as the transmission ended. The alien fleet was already inside the solar system, approaching faster than any ship humanity had ever seen. Approaching faster than any ship humanity had ever seen. The president turned to Voss. "Can we stop them?" Voss didn't answer. She looked up at the stars through the digital skylight. Countless points of light, beautiful and fragile. "Maybe," she said. "If the Armada works?" A young officer frowned. "Ma'am, do we even know what they want with Earth?" Voss smiled sadly. "They want proof." "Proof? That we can't survive." When the fleet finally entered Mars' orbit, every telescope on Earth caught the same image. Black ships the size of mountains, moving in formation like a swarm of blades. Mars's automated defense drones opened fire. None of their shots even touched the enemy. Within seconds, the Martian satellites went silent. The fleet continued toward Earth. Panic spread across the world. Social feeds crashed. Governments lost contact with each other. Cities went dark as electromagnetic pulses rolled through the atmosphere. It felt like the end of time, but in the depths of the ocean, something stirred. Pressure sensors went wild. Whales fled from the deep trenches. Seismic detectors registered rhythmic movement, mechanical, not natural. The Black Armada was waking up. Elias Rune's final transmission from the moon was brief. "They know everything," he said, voice breaking. "Every ship, every weapon, every code. The only thing they don't understand," static swallowed the rest. The last image showed him staring at the blue glow filling his window. Then the signal ended. Back on Earth, Voss stood at the command table. Around her, the other leaders argued, desperate and afraid. But Voss was silent. She had heard Rune's message, and she knew what he was trying to say. The only thing the Dominion didn't understand was humanity itself. She straightened, eyes hard as steel. "Prepare the fleet," she said quietly. "They're coming." And far above the clouds, unseen by the frightened world below, the shadow of the Dominion fleet grew larger, stretching across the stars like a curtain of death. The first contact wasn't through words. It came as light. All across Earth, the night sky shimmered with moving stars, geometric trails like symbols being carved across the heavens. People stood on rooftops and beaches, recording what they thought were auroras. Then the light stopped. At exactly 03 GMT, every electronic device on Earth froze. Phones, satellites, even pacemakers went silent for 7 full seconds. Then they turned back on, and the message began. A massive image appeared in the sky, broadcast across clouds and cities. It was a face, made of light and shadow, neither male nor female. Its eyes glowed like cold suns. Its voice filled every mind at once, bypassing air, distance, and sound. "Species 992A, humanity, you are ordered to kneel." The words slammed into people's minds like thunder. Some dropped to their knees, clutching their heads. Others screamed. The voice continued, emotionless. "By decree of the Galactic Dominion, this world is found guilty of aggression, contamination, and defiance. You have one planetary rotation. To surrender your sovereignty, your defenses, and your sentient rights. Non-compliance will result in extinction. And then, silence again. The alien fleet remained above the world, forming an eclipse so large it dimmed the sun. In the command bunker, the mood was chaos. Dozens of screens filled with global transmissions, panic, riots, emergency meetings, mass evacuations. The world had never been so connected or so terrified. A young officer ran up to Admiral Serena Voss. "Ma'am, the fleet is stationary, but their weapons are hot. Energy readings are climbing." "How long until they can strike?" she asked. "Minutes. Maybe less." "Then they won't wait for our answer," Voss said quietly. The president of the Earth Council spoke through the central hololink. "Admiral Voss, can we survive this?" "No, Mr. President," Voss said. "Not as we are." The council chamber fell silent. The world leaders stared at one another, the realization sinking in. All the armies, missiles, and fleets on Earth together wouldn't stop what was waiting above. The French chancellor broke the silence. "If we surrender, do you think they'll spare us?" Voss turned to her, her eyes cold. "They won't. The Dominion never spares. They harvest." A quiet murmur swept through the room. She continued, "They strip the surface for resources, then reprogram survivors into something they can control. That's what they call peace." The Russian premier slammed his fist. "Then we fight, whatever it takes." Voss nodded slowly. "There's only one weapon we haven't used, one we built for this day." The president frowned. "You mean the Black Armada?" "It's not just ships," Voss said. "It's a promise." The moment humanity realized we were not alone, we started preparing for the day someone stronger would tell us to kneel. In orbit, the alien fleet shifted. The largest ship moved forward, a fortress of light and shadow, hundreds of kilometers long. The Dominion leader appeared again, projected directly into the war room. His presence made the air itself vibrate. He looked at the humans with eyes like stars dying. "You misunderstand your place," he said. "You are not soldiers. You are subjects. Surrender your command ships. Deliver your leaders, and you will be allowed to live under Dominion rule." Voss stepped forward. "This is Admiral Serena Voss of Earth. On behalf of our species, I decline your offer." The alien's expression didn't change. "Defiance is inefficient." "So is slavery," she replied. He tilted his head as if studying a strange animal. "Your history is violence. You destroy your own world. You devour your kind. You call this strength?" Voss met his gaze. "We call it survival." The alien paused. Then the faintest hint of amusement crossed his face. "Then survive this." The connection cut off. Moments later, a dozen beams of white fire erupted from the alien ships, each one strong enough to vaporize a city. The first blast hit the Pacific, creating a wave taller than mountains. The second struck orbit, tearing apart 3 defense satellites. The third was aimed directly at the Arctic, where the Black Armada slept. Deep beneath the ice, alarms wailed. The impact shook entire glaciers loose, submarine hangars cracked, energy cells overloaded, but the command codes had already been entered. One by one, the ships began to awaken. Voss watched from her control deck as enormous data spikes filled the screens. "They found us," an engineer said. "Good," Voss replied. "Then they know what's coming." From miles below the ocean, massive engines roared to life. Water boiled as metal giants began to rise. The ocean's surface turned black with steam as ship after ship broke through the waves, glowing with eerie light. People across the world stared in disbelief, seeing massive black triangles rising through the storm, faster than any aircraft, larger than any building. Children pointed, soldiers saluted. Scientists wept. The Black Armada was real. In the sky, The alien fleet shifted formation, scanning the new threat. They had expected missiles, fighters, maybe even nuclear weapons. They had not expected this. "Admiral," a comms officer called, "the Dominion is hailing us again." Voss didn't look away from the screen. "Ignore them." "But ma'am," I said, "ignore them. We've already given our answer." The room fell silent except for the hum of awakening war machines. Then, from deep space, another signal arrived. It wasn't from the Dominion. It came from an old human probe, long thought lost beyond Pluto. The recording was faint, ancient, but clear. It was a voice from a century ago, from one of humanity's first deep space explorers. "If anyone finds this, tell them we saw the Black Sun." And it looked back. Voss listened to the message and smiled bitterly. They were right. She turned toward her crew. "Transmit to all Black Armada vessels, full combat launch. Earth's defense is now in human hands." The lights dimmed. The screens turned blood red. One by one, the Black Armada ships locked onto targets. Voss spoke softly, not to her officers, but to the entire planet. "They ordered us to kneel, but we were born standing." The countdown began. The oceans boiled. The sky cracked with thunder, and the world watched in silence as something ancient, something human, began to rise from the deep. From the Pacific to the Arctic, from the Indian to the Atlantic, black monoliths broke through the surface. Ships the size of mountains, their hulls drinking in the light around them. They were silent, but their presence filled the air with power. No flags, no nations, only one insignia burned upon each hull, a dark triangle wrapped in a silver ring, the mark of the Black Armada. Crowds gathered along coastlines, staring at the impossible. News drones captured the first images. Massive. Ships climbing toward the clouds, casting shadows that swallowed cities. For the first time in human history, the world united not in fear, but in awe. Admiral Serena Voss stood at the bridge of Eclipse 1, the lead ship of the Armada. The command deck trembled as the engines roared to life beneath her feet. She could feel it, the pulse of power surging through the ship's living core. It was not just metal and circuits. It was something more, something alive. Her second-in-command, Commander Jin Hale, stared at the tactical display. 37 vessels confirmed active, Admiral. Mars and Lunar Command have both gone dark. We are the last line. Voss nodded. Then we make our stand here. The ship's AI, designation Virga, spoke in a calm female voice. Quantum cores are stabilizing. Neural sync is at 96%. Would you like to authorize full cognitive link, Admiral? Proceed, Voss said. The lights dimmed. A soft hum filled the air as silver strands of data connected the crew's minds to the ship. It was overwhelming. The sensation of becoming part of something larger, something endless. Voss felt her. Thoughts stretched beyond her body, into the ship's frame, through the hull, and out into the stars. She was no longer just human. She was the Armada. In orbit, the Dominion fleet began to move. Thousands of alien ships glided into formation, sleek and perfect, like predators circling wounded prey. The largest among them, the Obsidian Crown, emitted a deep vibration, a sound that wasn't sound at all, but a signal across the void. High Dominator Zorthal watched from his throne of light. His eyes glowed like molten gold as he studied the human vessels. "Primitive design," he muttered. "Incomplete technology. They seek to intimidate." A subordinate knelt before him. "Shall we erase them?" "Not yet," Zorthal said. "I wish to see them struggle first. Every creature fights harder when it knows it will die." He raised one hand. The alien fleet began its descent toward Earth. Back on Eclipse 1, Voss watched as thousands of red markers appeared on her screen. Each one represented a Dominion warship, larger, faster, and more numerous than anything humanity had ever faced. Commander Hale whispered, "They're..." "Beautiful," Voss smiled grimly. "Death often is." Then she raised her voice, broadcasting to all 37 ships. "This is Admiral Voss. The enemy believes they're gods. Let's show them what humans do to false gods." Around the world, 37 captains responded in unison. For Earth, the battle began. The first Dominion volley struck like a storm. Beams of white fire rained down from orbit, turning the upper atmosphere into a glowing sea of plasma. Dozens of missiles launched from the Armada, cutting through the inferno, each guided by human minds and machine precision. The first impact shook the heavens. A Dominion cruiser disintegrated, its hull collapsing in on itself like crushed glass. Cheers erupted across the command decks. Humanity had drawn first blood, but the celebration didn't last long. Hundreds more enemy ships broke formation and charged. "Multiple hits incoming," shouted Hale. "Brace for impact!" The Eclipse One shuddered violently as energy blasts struck its shields. Systems screamed in protest. Crew members struggled to stay upright. Yet through the chaos, Voss remained still, her hand gripping the command rail. "Virga," she said calmly, "release the Phantom Protocol." "Confirmed," the AI replied. The hull of the Eclipse One shimmered and then vanished. So did the rest of the Armada. The Dominion fleet fired wildly into empty space, invisible, silent. The Black Armada moved like shadows between stars. Inside the enemy formation, reality twisted. The Armada's ships reappeared, their dark hulls glowing with quantum energy. Gravity warped around them as they unleashed their counterattack. "Fire all forward cannons," Voss commanded. 37 beams of black light cut through space, bending time itself. Where they struck, Dominion ships imploded into fragments of burning light. The sky became a storm of destruction, beautiful and terrifying. Still, the aliens did not retreat. For every Dominion ship destroyed, 10 more replaced it. Their weapons scorched the Armada's shields, burning through armor and tearing metal apart. "Admiral, Spectre 4 has been destroyed," Hale shouted. "Understood," Voss said, her jaw tight. They knew this would be suicide. "Keep firing." Across the battle, Dominion voices screamed through static. Their sensors couldn't lock on the Armada. Their AI systems faltered. Their formation broke. Sorthal rose from his throne, fury twisting his face. "Impossible! They're using dark engines?" That technology was forbidden even among the ancients. A lieutenant trembled before him. "Orders, my lord?" "Erase them, no mercy. End this world." Down on Earth, people watched the sky as flashes of light painted the night, like stars being born and dying all at once. Across continents, they prayed, shouted, cried, or simply stared. For the first time, the entire species held its breath together. And high above, Admiral Voss stood at the edge of annihilation, watching her ships burn the heavens. "Status?" she asked. 29 ships remaining," Hale replied, voice shaking. "We can't keep this up." Voss stared at the swirling battlefield, chaos and fire stretching across the void. "We don't need to keep it up," she said. "We just need to break them." Her eyes narrowed as she whispered the words that would echo through human history. "Initiate Ragnarok." The ship's AI paused. "Admiral, that will—" "Do it!" The core of Eclipse One pulsed. The Black Armada's formation shifted, and space itself began to tear. Space twisted like water, stars blurred, light bent, and for one terrible moment, every ship, human and alien alike, felt the universe shiver. The Ragnarok protocol had begun. Deep inside the Eclipse One, the black core pulsed faster, growing brighter with each beat. It wasn't just a weapon, it was a wound in reality itself, a reactor fueled by a fragment of collapsed space. For decades, Earth had kept it secret, afraid of what it might do. Now it was awake. "Core temperature rising," Commander Hale shouted. "Quantum fields destabilizing." "Hold it," Voss ordered. Her voice stayed calm even as the deck trembled beneath her. If it breaks, so do they. Outside, invisible waves of gravity rippled outward. Dominion ships caught in the blast began to distort. Metal stretched, bent, then vanished into nothing. Their sensors screamed warnings they couldn't understand. From the flagship Obsidian Crown, High Dominator Zorthal watched in disbelief. "What? What have they done?" His advisors stared, speechless. The human ships weren't attacking with fire or missiles anymore. They were attacking with physics itself. "It's not possible," one of them whispered. "They're just primitives." Silence. Zorthal roared. "Find the source! Destroy it!" But it was too late. One by one, Dominion vessels began to collapse in on themselves. The sky burned with silent explosions. The Armada's black ships moved through the chaos like ghosts, vanishing, reappearing, striking at impossible angles. In orbit, the battle became something no war should ever be. Light itself curved. Time flickered. Space screamed. The Black Armada fought like a living organism, each ship linked to the others through quantum mind nets, thinking and reacting as one. Pilots didn't speak in words anymore. They felt each other's thoughts, fear, fury, and hope, blending into one unstoppable rhythm. "Target the Obsidian Crown," Voss commanded. "Admiral," Hale warned, "we'll have to breach their energy field. That thing could crush us like dust." Voss looked at him. "It could. Or we could crush it first." Verga, the ship's AI, interrupted, calculating a 98% probability of total fleet destruction if we proceed. Voss smiled faintly. "Then it's only 2% impossible. I can work with that." The Eclipse 1 and the surviving 28 ships formed a spearhead. Their engines burned white-hot as they accelerated toward the Dominion flagship. Enemy ships swarmed like insects, unleashing torrents of plasma. Entire continents of light filled space. The Eclipse 1 dove through it, shields screaming, hull burning. "Shields at 30%, Hale shouted. "Hold steady," Voss said. Then the Armada struck. Their cannons unleashed beams of black energy that twisted through space like serpents. The Dominion's fleet fractured. Hundreds of ships exploded. The Obsidian Crown took its first direct hit. Its shimmering barrier flickered, exposing its core for the briefest instant. Voss saw her chance. "All ships, focus fire." Every surviving vessel turned and fired as one. The impact lit up the dark side of the Earth like dawn. The Dominion flagship staggered. Inside the alien bridge, Zorthal's fury turned to panic. How can they fight like this?" A subordinate trembled. "Their ships are not machines, my lord. They are bonded, human and machine as one." "Abomination," Zorthal hissed. "Purge them all!" He extended his clawed hand toward a control sphere. The Obsidian Crown responded, its core splitting open to reveal a swirling, golden storm, a weapon older than their empire. The alien superweapon fired. A beam of golden plasma cut across space and hit Eclipse 1 dead center. The ship screamed as its shields disintegrated. Consoles exploded. Crew members were thrown across the deck. Voss was slammed to the floor, her vision blurring. "Admiral!" Hale shouted, pulling her up. "We've lost engines 3 through 6. The hull is cracking!" Voss coughed, blood on her lips. "Can the core still fire?" "Maybe once. Then it'll tear itself apart." She looked through the viewport. The Earth hung below them, blue, fragile, perfect. Every reason she ever had to fight was there. "Then once is enough," she said quietly. "Verga, target the enemy flagship." "Target locked," the AI replied. "This action will terminate all systems, including life support." "I know," Voss said. "Begin final sequence." The Eclipse 1 began to glow, brighter, brighter, until it was a miniature sun. From the Dominion flagship, Zorthal watched, confused. "What are they doing?" And then realization hit him. "They're going to detonate their core." The explosion swallowed his words. A silent wave of light burst outward, consuming both fleets. Dominion ships were torn apart, their energy fields collapsing, their cores imploding one after another. The Obsidian Crown cracked like glass and vanished into the blaze. The Eclipse 1 was gone. So was most of the Armada. The sky went dark again. On Earth, people saw it happen. The final flash, the fire in the heavens, the sudden silence. Every power grid failed. Communications died, and then nothing. Just the wind. Hours passed. Then a weak transmission broke through the static. "This is Commander Hale. Eclipse 1 is still here. Admiral Voss is unconscious but alive. Most systems are gone, but we're drifting. Earth is safe. I repeat, Earth is safe. Earth is safe." The world listened in stunned silence. Then slowly, cheering began, spreading from cities to villages, from the highest towers to the darkest shelters. Humanity had done the impossible. They had fought gods and lived, but in the wreckage of space, not everything was dead. Far from Earth, fragments of the obsidian crown floated in the void. Among them, a single spark of alien light pulsed once, then twice, and a voice whispered in the dark, weak but full of venom. "Humanity, you have earned our attention." Space was quiet again. The battle was over, but the silence didn't feel like peace. It felt like the space between heartbeats, the moment before you realize whether you're still alive. Fragments of destroyed ships drifted in orbit, glowing faintly like dying stars. The wreck of the Eclipse One floated among them, its hull torn, its lights dark. Earth spun below, blue and calm, unaware that death still lingered just beyond the clouds. Inside the shattered command deck, Commander Jin Hale awoke to the sound of static. His body ached, and the air smelled like smoke and blood. "Virga," he croaked, voice hoarse. "Report." The AI's voice was faint, glitching. "Core integrity, 0%. Quantum field collapsed. Crew status, unknown." Hale forced himself to stand. The ship's corridor was gone, just twisted metal and sparks. He limped toward the viewport, expecting to see nothing but debris. Instead, he saw light, small ships, hundreds of them, rising from Earth. Civilian transports, rescue craft, scavengers. Humanity was already moving again. He smiled weakly. "They're still fighting," he whispered. "Of course they are." Hours later, rescue teams reached the wreck. The survivors of the Black Armada were pulled from the darkness, burned, broken, but alive. Among them was Admiral Serena Voss. When they found her, she was still strapped into the captain's chair, unconscious but breathing. Her fingers were still locked around the command rail, as if she refused to let go even in death. When she finally opened her eyes, she whispered one word: "Status?" In the days that followed, Earth tried to understand what had happened. The skies were clear, the alien fleet gone. No new signals came. For the first time in human history, the entire planet shared one feeling: exhaustion. Cities that had expected annihilation began to rebuild. People painted symbols of the Black Armada on walls and rooftops. They told stories about the day Earth refused to kneel. But Admiral Voss wasn't celebrating. She sat in a medical recovery room deep underground, watching the stars through a digital screen. Her body was covered in scars, and one of her eyes had been replaced with a cybernetic lens. "Everyone thinks it's over," she said quietly. Commander Hale, standing beside her, frowned. "Isn't it?" She turned her mechanical eye toward him, glowing faintly red. "No, they don't vanish. Not the Dominion. They regroup. They analyze. And then they come back stronger." She looked back at the stars. "They wanted us to show what we could do. We just did." Hale didn't answer, because deep down he knew she was right. 2 weeks later, strange readings appeared near Jupiter. Long-range telescopes caught fragments of light, wreckage from the alien fleet, reforming, machines knitting themselves back together, and something else. A new signal pulsed across the solar system. Not a threat, not a command, just one word repeated in 1,000 alien languages: evolve. Voss was back in uniform before the doctors cleared her. She limped into the new command center where a holographic map of the solar system hovered above the table. "Show me," she said. Technicians pulled up the data. The Dominion debris wasn't drifting anymore. It was moving, converging into a single point near Jupiter's shadow. "It's building something," Hale said. "A ship. No, a fortress." Voss stared at the growing mass. "How long until it's operational?" "Days, maybe less. Whatever it is, it's learning from our technology. It's copying the Black Armada." Her expression hardened. "They want to use our creation against us." One of the scientists looked up nervously. "Admiral, the Eclipse One can't fight again. Its core's gone. We don't have a fleet left." Voss's lips curved into a thin smile. "Then we'll build another one." The world rallied behind her. Nations that once fought each other now shared blueprints and engineers. Every shipyard on Earth came alive again. But this time, the Black Armada wasn't just a secret weapon. It was humanity's symbol. Men and women from every country volunteered to serve. The old boundaries vanished. For once, there was only one flag: Earth. Voss stood before the workers and pilots in a massive hangar carved into a mountain. Thousands of new ships lined the walls, sleeker, faster, stronger. They were built not just from human steel, but from captured alien fragments fused with quantum alloys. "They think they're evolving," she said to the crowd. "So are we." Her voice echoed through the chamber. "The first armada was built in secret. This one will be built in the open. Let them watch. Let them fear what we become." Meanwhile, near Jupiter, the Dominion remnants fused into something monstrous. A single massive vessel, kilometers wide, its surface rippling like liquid metal. At its center burned a glowing heart, a stolen fragment of Eclipse One's destroyed core. From within that ship, a voice whispered through the void. Zorthal was alive, his body half machine, half shadow. "They think they won, but victory is the first step toward ruin." He raised his gaze toward the distant sun, toward Earth. "If they wish to rise, we will be the gravity that drags them back down." Back on Earth, Hale joined Voss on a cliff overlooking the sea. Below them, the second generation of the Black Armada gleamed under the sunrise, ready for launch. He said softly, "Do you ever think we've gone too far? Building weapons that can tear the universe apart?" Voss didn't answer right away. The wind blew through her hair. She stared at the horizon, where the ocean met the stars. "Maybe," she said at last. "But if the universe wants to kill us, we owe it an honest fight." Then she turned and walked back toward the launch site. In her eyes, the reflection of the rising sun burned bright, but if you looked closely, it wasn't sunlight at all. It was something darker, deeper, the same glow that powered the Black Armada itself. The second dawn of humanity rose not over peace, but over preparation. For a moment, the world had believed the war was over. Now, the stars whispered otherwise. In orbit, the rebuilt Black Armada glittered like obsidian lightning. Every ship bore a scar from the First War, a reminder of sacrifice turned into strength. Their new cores pulsed with a deeper light, part human science, part stolen Dominion code. Each heartbeat of the fleet was half machine, half revenge. Admiral Serena Voss stood on the bridge of the new flagship Eclipse Prime. Her right arm was cybernetic now. Faint lines of light pulsed beneath the skin. She flexed the hand slowly, testing its strength. "Feels heavier?" she muttered. Commander Jin Hale smiled beside her. "That's because it's not made for peace, Admiral." Voss looked out the viewport toward Jupiter's orbit, where an unnatural glow shimmered beyond the planet's rings. "They've been rebuilding too," she said. "We'll meet them halfway." Near Jupiter, the Dominion fortress was almost complete, a moon-sized engine wrapped in storms of gold and black. Inside, High Dominator Zorthal had become something no longer alien, no longer pure. His ruined body was fused with fragments of human technology, his veins glowing with dark energy. "They used our laws against us," he said to the holographic council around him. "They learned the forbidden. Now we will learn them." The council bowed, voices echoing through metal halls. "How will you punish them, my lord?" "Not with death," Zorthal whispered. "With memory. Let them see every world we've conquered. Let them drown in what we are." He turned toward the glowing core, a captured shard of the first Eclipse One. "Open the gate!" A tear split open in the space behind Jupiter, a swirling black wound that stretched into nowhere. Through it, shadows moved. Shapes from older wars, forgotten machines. The Dominion was calling back its ancient armies. Back on Earth, global sensors screamed. Gravity rippled. The oceans rose and fell without wind. The stars around Jupiter began to vanish, one by one. Voss watched the data stream in, her expression unreadable. "They're opening something," Hale said. "Not a weapon, a door. To where?" "No coordinates, it's outside the map." Voss didn't hesitate. "Ready all ships. Full formation. We go to them." As the Armada ascended through the atmosphere, the world watched. Children waved at the sky. Old soldiers saluted. For the first time, Earth had no borders, only one fleet, one purpose, one heartbeat. In orbit, 36 ships aligned behind Eclipse Prime. Their engines hummed like thunder. Voss spoke across every frequency, to soldiers, civilians, even to the Dominion if they were listening. We were born in the dark. We crawled through mud and fire and silence. Every world that told us to kneel is gone now. We don't kneel. We build. We rise. And today, we answer the stars. The fleet leapt forward, engines igniting in synchronized brilliance. Space folded. Earth vanished behind them. When they reached Jupiter's shadow, the Dominion fortress filled the view, an entire ecosystem of war orbiting in gold storms. The tier in space pulsed at its center like a living eye. Voss whispered, "Magnificent." Then came the voice, Sorthal's voice, across every channel, every frequency, even through thought. "You cannot win twice, Serena Voss," she smiled. "Then I'll only need once." The Black Armada opened fire. The Black Armada opened fire.